and thanks for joining us on Nationwide today. I'm Elizabeth Omori. Following the air mishap that claimed the life of the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Ibrahim Atahiru, and 10 other military officers, the Accident Investigation Bureau Nigeria has been mandated by the Nigerian Air Force to lead the investigation into the crash that occurred on Friday in Kaduna. A statement by the AIB General Manager, Public Affairs, Tunji Oketumbi, stated that the flight data recorder and the cockpit voice recorder from the accidented Beechcraft 350 aircraft have been recovered. An investigation has commenced. Investigators will download and analyze vital information contained in the recorders at the AIB's world-class safety laboratory in Abuja. As the nation continues to mourn the death of the 11 officers and soldiers of the Nigerian Armed Forces who died in a plane crash on Friday, the Minister of Defense, General Bashir Salim Magashi, has paid a condolence visit to the family of the late Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Ibrahim Atahiru, at Niger Barracks, Abuja. Consoling the bereaved family, the Minister of Defense prayed for the repose of the souls of the departed officers and soldiers. In the same vein, the wife of the Vice President, Dolapo Shimbajo, who joined the minister in the residence of late Brigadier General Olayinka, expressed sympathy to the bereaved family and prayed for God's mercy on the souls of the departed. On the minister's entourage are the Chief of Defense Staff and the 2 service chiefs of the Navy and Air Force. And out to food security, a wounded rural community stakeholders food systems dialogue has ended in Bayelsa State with various recommendations for safeguarding quality, accessibility and affordability of food. Organized by Livelihood Improvement Family Enterprises, the forum was held in Sabagria, Kolokuma, Okpokoma local government area of the state. The grassroots stakeholders also preferred solutions to challenges facing sustainability of agriculture in the country. Senam Bangwe reports.
The Livelihood Improvement Family Enterprises project in the Niger Delta, LifeND, is a rural program. About 40 women, youth and elders gathered at Egbelu Ekati Hall at Kalama, Sabagria for the discourse. A key objective of the LifeND project is to transform the rural economy to enhance income, food security and job creation for youth and women.
In the dialogue itself, there are actions that need to be taken immediately, and it is the UN that will decide in the context of the issues that are identified what is immediate. So it could take place in less than 3 months.
Some recommendations at the discourse include that every household be encouraged to engage in some form of farming, with the government and support agencies providing expert advice on the type of crops suitable for each soil type, seedlings, and, where necessary, acquisition of land to be allocated to farmers that otherwise would have no access to land.
It will go a long way in improving my community. The mindset of the people, you are waking us up on a lot of issues.
Very nice decision that came to this village to improve the food system.
Immediately after this program, I will kind of inform the community, especially the youth.
Participants also highlighted losses to crops from annual flooding of the environment and need for silos for preservation of harvested crops. From Sabagria in Kolokoma Pokoma local government of Bayelsa State, Senam Bamigboye, NTA News.
FCT Minister of State Ramatu Tijani Aliyu has expressed the determination of the FCT administration to collaborate with resourceful bee farmers towards creating an enabling environment for the growth of the agricultural sector in the FCT. The minister was speaking at the commemoration of the 2021 International Bee Day. Ifeanyi Izumba tells us more.
FCT Minister of State Ramatu Tijani Aliyu identified lack of modern beekeeping techniques and access to inputs as some of the major challenges facing the agriculture sector in the nation's capital. She, however, affirmed that despite the numerous challenges, the FCT administration, through the Agriculture and Rural Development Secretariat, has organized various farming programs to expose the farmers to modern techniques in bee production.
With an unending desire to meet their need for food, clothing, and shelter. The significance of this day, therefore, cannot be overemphasized, as research is indicated that bees pollinate about 80% of world's plants and about 90% of
We sincerely apologize for that hitch. Moving on, farmers in Jigawa State have resumed cultivation of irrigation sites along Hadejia River Valley as thousands of hectares of farmlands taken over by typhi grass, also the stretch of the river basin, are being recovered. The multi-billion recovery project awarded by the federal government in 2018 is steadily progressing. Mohammed Musa Skira has an update.
Initiated since 1981, the Hadejia Valley Irrigation Scheme project was abandoned due to poor funding to execute the program. This has over the years resulted into destroying thousands of hectares of farmlands covered by typhi grass, sifting the entire length of Hadejia Jamare River Basin, leaving in its trail annual destructive flooding affecting many local government areas of Jigawa State. Worried by this development, President Muhammadu Buhari has in 2018 awarded the contract for the rehabilitation of the existing gravity irrigation area at the cost of about 9.4 billion naira to reopen the blocked waterways to address the annual flooding, creating vast grazing land and resuscitate the means of livelihood for communities living along the basin.
Due to this work, the animals will get food, whereby production of meat will increase, production of fish will increase, production of food crop will increase.
This is in line with President Muhammadu Buhari's aggressive pursuit of agricultural development and that of Governor Muhammadu Badru Abubakar to diversify the sources of the nation's economy, besides the need to ensure food security in the country.
The basic concept is to starve the typhi grass of water so that it will naturally dry up.
You can see the land is reclaimed. The farmers are busy working in their own farm. Some of them, they couldn't even farm in their own land for more than 16 years.
With 3 years completion period, the rehabilitation project located in Abuja local government area of Jigawa State is being carried out under the Transforming Irrigation Management in Nigeria program supported by the World Bank. In Dute, Muhammad Musa Skira, NTA News.
Still talking agriculture, Akwa Ibom State Governor Udom Emmanuel says although last year's COVID-19 lockdown globally slowed down the arrival and clearance of major equipment for the completion of the state government coconut factory, the factory is now set for full operation and inauguration by September 2021. Susan Asoko reports that the governor stated this while inspecting the installation of production lines at the factory.
This industrialization drive attracted investors with huge investment in aviation, health, agric, among others. In his second term in office, the governor is not relenting as he is bent on completing what he started in his first term. The coconut factory located in Mourning local government area is one of the projects initiated in the first term of his administration. And to complete this project, production lines have been installed for full operations to commence in the factory by September 2021. The governor, who was taken round the factory by the construction engineer and the architect of the factory, expressed satisfaction at the level of work done, noting that the over 3,000 youths who will be employed to work in the factory will have the privilege of being trained by foreign experts.
It's a combined technology of both Asia and Europe. So we still need those Indians because a whole of them will take part in training our locals. They will also take part in technology, transfer to our own locals.
Job opportunities abound in the factory. Every byproduct in the factory will be harnessed for economic purpose.
Workers inside the factory, total labor force will be about 255 per shift, times 3 shifts per day. But altogether in the factory, both inside and outside administrative, will be about 1,200 people a day.
The coconut factory, when fully operational, will have the capacity of processing 300,000 coconuts per shift, which will produce about 66 tons in a day. Operation in the factory will run in 3 shifts with about 300 persons working per shift. From Mourning local government area, Susan Asoko, NTA News.
We are part of the solution is the focus of the 2021 International Day for Biodiversity. And like many countries of the world, Nigeria is making commitments to the agenda for sustainable development to protect the planet from degradation. On NTA Fine Face reports.
biodiversity is a reminder that man and nature are in one community, and this underscores the importance of concrete, concerted and coordinated global actions for the conservation, restoration and sustainable use of biodiversity.
By reversing biodiversity loss, we can improve human health, realize sustainable development and address the climate emergency.
The day is also a call for people to be part of the solution to the biodiversity crisis by preserving natural ecosystems.
If you take 5 mango trees, orange trees, and plant it within your house environment, it's going to give you shade, it's going to give you clean air, and you have benefits from it as well.
For Nigeria, the day is another opportunity to articulate the country's climate ambition, an action the Minister of Environment, Mohammed Mahmoud Abubakar, considers crucial to biodiversity conservation.
Currently, we are championing energy transition to reduce dependence on carbon-intensive energy sources. Based on that, one of our commitment in the NDCs, one of the sectors is provision of solar energy, that is power sector.
International Day for Biodiversity is a major build-up to the 15th meeting of the Conference of the Parties to the United Nations Convention on Biological Diversity, COP15, slated for October 2021 in China. Onengie Fine Face, NTA News.
This is Nationwide on NTA. Lagos is our first port of call, and Adeola will be our guide. Hello, Adeola.
Hello, Elizabeth. Good to see you. Lagos State House of Assembly has thrown its weight behind the resolutions reached by the Southern governors on insecurity, open grazing, and other matters of national importance in the region. This was the consensus of members at the resumption of sitting after the Eid al-Fitr break in Lagos. Musa Toliat completes the report.
Members of the Lagos House of Assembly resumed from the Salah break to deliberate on matters of urgent national concern, especially widespread insecurity, which they say has assumed an alarming dimension. Deputy Leader of the House, Honorable Naim Adams, drew attention of the Speaker and members of the Assembly to the communique recently issued by Southern governors on possible ways of dealing decisively with banditry, kidnapping, open grazing, and other forms of insecurity in the country.
Mr. Speaker, at the meeting, they resolve that the unity and oneness of Nigeria is very, very important.
Some legislators made invaluable contributions and recommendations on several areas of security challenges.
Let's take the security out of the executive list and take it back to the concurrent list.
If I'm allowed to secure my area and I'm given all the necessary equipment to secure, who else will come to my territory?
That is why the National Assembly should come up with a bill to address the issue of state police.
And if you fix power, you fix everything. Because electricity will bring about more economic stability for us. And of course, security challenges would reduce.
Asking for restructuring is a good one. Is to silence the agitation from all regions. If there's a restructuring, I think we douse this tension, and I think Mr. President should do something.
Meanwhile, the Lagos House of Assembly has lifted the suspension slammed on Chairman Surulere Local Government Tajuddin Ajide after the Speaker, Right Honorable Mudashiru Abasa, noted that the suspended chairman had written to the House to appeal for forgiveness. In Lagos, Musa Toliat, NTA News.
Now, retired civil servants in Lagos State are having a new lease of life as the Lagos State government equips them with entrepreneurship skills at a 3-day workshop in Alausa, Lagos.
The 3-day workshop seeks to equip the state's senior citizens with requisite skills and competence in fish, poultry, and snail farming. The objective of the program is to assist the participants set up small and medium enterprises, which will further make them productive and active contributors to the Lagos State gross domestic product. Lagos State Head of Service, Hakeem Moriokunla, who was represented, said the intention of the government is to help the retirees grow their businesses to become employers of labor, remain active, and have a veritable source of income even in retirement.
We provide things for them, tools to take off. We do that.
We do that. You heard that one of the earlier retiree trained will be supplying them fingerlings. It's at our own expense. We pay for it. He brings, we encourage them. When he has the fingerlings, he gives to them. We pay for it, the government. So we are not asking them to pay for that.
Some participants react to the training program.
With what the government is doing, I really appreciate it because since I retired, I've been thinking of what to do. And God so good, this is where my interest lies.
We have been employee for a very long time. Now we'll now be employers of labor.
I'm very impressed with the scheme, the cost structure, the cost content, as well as the facilitators.
The event is the second edition of the quarterly training and sensitization program for the retirees of Lagos State Public Service. In Lagos, Musa Tolia, NTA News.
You're still watching the nationwide news on the network service of the NTA. There will be more reports after this break. Please stay.
My name is Boss Mustafa, the Secretary to the Government and the Chairman of the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19. I've just had the rare privilege of taking my first dose of the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine, and I can tell you that we are doing very well in terms of our response and the administration of the vaccines all over the country. As strategic leaders, we are supposed to lead by example, and the President did precisely that on Saturday with the Vice President, and we are continuing in that particular direction. The essence of taking these vaccines is to help us really fight this COVID-19 virus, and the combination of the non-pharmaceutical measures and the vaccine is the way to go in 2021 and thereafter.
Visit our website on www.nta.ng for more news and updates, or follow us on Twitter at NTA News Now. You can also like us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/NTA Network News. Stay connected and subscribe to our YouTube channel at www.youtube.com/NTA News Online. Watch our news live streaming at www.nta.ng/live.
Although social media as a channel of communication is inherently harmless, it becomes harmful and damaging when used without discretion and thoughtfulness. Bad social media users spread rumors and fake news without verification. But good social media users stop, reflect, and verify information before sharing it. Be a good social media user. Stop the spread of fake news. Verify the authenticity of your source and use social media responsibly for a better Nigeria. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, in collaboration with the National Orientation Agency.
From dusk to dawn, 24 hours a day, NTA International is with you. In your living room, office, and everywhere, anywhere. We provide a company you desire in terms of balanced and up-to-date news, programs, and the best of entertainment. Tune in to DSTV channel 251, GoTV channel 91, Freeview channel 264, or live streaming via www.visiontv.co.uk. Application for iOS or Android. You can also see us on Facebook and YouTube for quality content on the go. NTA International, Africa's window to the world.
Thanks for staying with the NTA. After his formal defection, Cross River State Governor Ben Ayade has met with the leadership and members of the All Progressives Congress in the state with a message of unity to consolidate on the gains of the party ahead of 2023 general elections. Paul Abel reports.
The meeting, which is the first in the series of consultations to reposition the ABC in the state, affords the governor the opportunity to appreciate the people for the strong opposition when he was in the PDP, which spurred him to record achievements in the state. Governor Ayade promised a peaceful electoral process in the future, while the APC state chairman pledged to give him total support for more successes in the state.
We can't afford the salamanization that is always orchestrated by politics. What we are going to do is politician, because the policing process of our elections, our courage and our conduct will show that we have one indivisible state.
Now that he's part of the mainstream, we are going to all rally behind him. We will be behind you 100%. For once, instead of complaining, let us direct our energy positively and support him.
In the spirit of fairness, Governor Ayade issued a directive to appoint 500 APC members to positions of authority. In Calabar, Paul Abel, NTA News.
Still on political matters, the National Working Committee of the People's Democratic Party, on behalf of the National Executive Committee, has approved the dissolution of the State Caretaker Committee for the Cross River State chapter of the party. Timothy Yusuf reports that the party's stakeholders, led by former Governor Leo Imoke, at the party's National Secretariat in Abuja, say that PDP structure in the state remains intact.
The decision of the PDP to dissolve and subsequently replace the Cross River State chapter of Caretaker Committee, according to the party's spokesman Kola Olobondion, is in pursuant to the powers conferred on the NWC by the PDP constitution. Consequently, the NWC constituted a new State Caretaker Committee to pilot the affairs of the chapter of the party at the state level. Efiok Kobam is chairman of the 10-man committee, while Eko Atu is secretary. Other structure of the party at the local government and ward levels in the state remain intact. Meanwhile, the Cross River PDP Stakeholders Forum, led by former Governor Leo Imoke, has described Governor Ben Ayade's exit from the PDP as regrettable but not unexpected. He affirmed that the majority of citizens who had supported the party from inception remain in the PDP.
We, as a party, therefore remain virile and strong. Hence, the events in our state avail us an opportunity to re-strategize.
Senator Gershon Bassi, on behalf of National Assembly members from the state, reaffirmed their loyalty to the party. In Abuja, Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
Away from political matters, a total of 580 bags equivalent to 120 drums of liquid substance suspected to be refined automotive gas oil, popularly called diesel, have been intercepted by men of the Nigerian Navy ship Lokoja along the coast of River Niger. The Navy paraded the culprits are the NN ship Lugard. Correspondent Solomon Aiden has details.
The 8 persons suspected of illegal bunkering were arrested along Itobe-Ida axis on the coast of River Niger, conveying the illegal substance worth millions of naira from Delta State in a wooden fiber boat by men of the Nigerian Navy ship Lugard, Lokoja.
We dey buy am for Delta State, for Worobia. If we buy am for there, we come for Ida to come sell. I know say na this we carry. So I know it's illegal.
What the Navy have done so far, I think, as far as the state is concerned, we are very satisfied. They are doing their job on water. Other security agencies are doing a beautiful job on land.
We are here with a new vigor, a new mandate, and a determination to make sure that it is no longer business as usual for those who are involved in criminalities on the waterways of Kogi State.
Commander NNS Lugard Lokoja, Commodore Clement Atebi, who described the act as a sabotage on the nation's economy, warned criminals who now leverage on the waterway to perpetuate crime, to desist or meet their Waterloo. In a related development, the command also paraded the duo of Halilu Audu and Aliyu Mohammed arrested around Ajaokuta Itobi axis on Niger River, conveying 553.5 kg substance discovered to be cannabis sativa from Jegono en route loco in Nasarawa State. This achievement, the commander explained, was in line with the Chief of Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Awal Swaibu Gambo's directive on zero tolerance to all forms of criminality on Nigerian waterways. The suspects have been handed over to relevant agencies of government for further investigation and prosecution. In Lokoja, Solomon Ayedehin, NTA News.
And Asmao in our Sokoto Network Center is ready with the next set of reports. Hello, Asmao. Good to see you.
Elizabeth, good to see you too. International Development Integrated Health Program Chief of Party Martha Levitt has appealed to Governor Aminu Waziri Tambuwal to direct the release of 100 million naira take-up grant to Sokoto State Contributory Healthcare Management Scheme in the interest of achieving universal health coverage. She made the appeal during a visit to the wife of the governor, Maria Aminu Waziri Tambuwal. Sheikh Muhammad Dati completes the report.
The USAID Integrated Health Program Chief of Party Martha Levitt underscored the importance of universal health coverage. She said full implementation of Sokoto State Contributory Health Management Scheme will reduce the difficulty being faced by many people in accessing affordable and quality health care. She called on wife of the governor, Maria Aminu Waziri Tambuwal, to prevail on her husband to fully implement the contributory health care scheme, which had become a law in Sokoto since 2016.
These schemes are going to help Sokoto provide quality health care. So that is very, very important. And the scheme will also reduce the out-of-pocket expenditure for the poor people.
The governor's wife commended the formation of the Sokoto State Contributory Healthcare Management Scheme and assured to do everything possible for it to succeed.
Which gave me more courage to work with you, and I will do everything possible to work with you hand to hand, shoulder to shoulder, step by step.
The special advisor to the governor on Sokoto State Contributory Healthcare Management Agency, Dr. Mahmoud Yusuf, said a lot has been done to make healthcare delivery affordable and accessible. Highlight of the occasion was presentation of award by Sokoto State Contributory Healthcare Management Agency to the governor's wife in recognition of her giant strides in the fight against gender-based violence and other people-oriented programs and projects. In Sokoto, Sheikh Muhammad Dati, NTA News.
As part of efforts to educate the children who lost their parents to the prevailing security challenges in Zamfara State, the State Universal Basic Education Board has enrolled 3,000 orphans into the Education Service Delivery for All, BESDA. Executive Chairman of the board, Abubakar Aliyu Maradun, stated this while speaking with newsmen in Gusau. Jamilu Ibrahim has more.
The protracted security challenges bedeviling Zamfara State have, among other things, resulted in a number of orphans whose fathers were killed by the bandits. A number of these orphans, along with their mothers, have been displaced and are now taking refuge outside their respective communities. As part of efforts to extend the better service education delivery for all to this category of children, the Zamfara State Universal Basic Education Board has come up with a special strategy in that regard. Executive Chairman of the board, Alhaji Abubakar Aliyu Maradun, said a total of 3,000 orphans have been registered across the state for their formal integration into the BESDA program effective from this year. He explained that the study centers have been established where the orphans will be taking lessons, as adequate arrangement has been made to take care of their feeding and other logistics.
And we are going to recruit about 600 volunteer teachers to cover these centers.
Alhaji Abubakar Maradun, who gave an overview of the BESDA implementation in Zamfara State, says more than 89,000 almajiris, 41,500 girls, and 3,700 nomadic have been so far captured in the program. Alhaji Aliu Maradun also said the present administration of Governor Bello Muhammad has performed creditably in improving the welfare of teachers through the payment of their promotion arrears and some other related entitlements. He, however, advocated for the establishment of a special trust fund by the federal government, which will empower the state governments to implement the special salary scale for teachers recently approved by President Muhammadu Buhari in the best interest of the nation education sector. In Gusau, Jamilu Ibrahim, NTA News.
And that's it from Sokoto. It's back to Elizabeth in Abuja.
You can get more news and updates on www.nta.ng or follow us on our Twitter handle at NTA News Now. You can also like us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/NTA Network News, and also stay connected and subscribe to our YouTube channel at www.youtube.com/NTA News Online. Also remember to watch our news live streaming at www.nta.ng/live.
Thanks for staying with us. Saudi Arabia authorities have announced that only 60,000 foreigners will be allowed to perform this year's pilgrimage in the Holy Land. Special Assistant to Prime Minister of Religious Affairs, Alama Tahir Ashrafi, who announced this in a tweet, says the pilgrims would have to follow the coronavirus guideline protocols. This decision is to enable pilgrims access to the ground and the Prophet's mosques to perform the Hajj and Umrah. Saudi authorities had earlier announced that only people immunized against COVID-19 will be allowed to perform the Hajj. In the meantime, the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria clarified that the final guideline for the 2021 Hajj operation is yet to be announced. The Commission, in a statement, says is yet to be communicated to the number of slots allocated to Nigeria. NACON therefore urges the public to consider the information being circulated as guidelines for COVID-19 Hajj as inconclusive. Stakeholders in the nation's value and ethical reorientation industry have advocated the inclusion of state and non-state actors in the training of sound leadership traits by Citizens and Leadership Training Center in the country. The advocacy was at its 70th anniversary celebration held in Abuja, which dwelt on the theme optimizing the unique value of Citizenship and Leadership Training Center for an organized and prosperous nation. Speakers described Nigeria as a great nation and appealed to citizens to imbibe values that will promote social harmony and foster unity.
And efficiency of the center to accomplish its mandate can be enhanced by the amendment of the Enabling Act to accommodate not only provisions that spell out which category of Nigerians that should attend the center's training, but also make it compulsory.
Since the focus is on the youth, pull them together, train them, educate them on these values, evaluate their adaptation to these values, and allow them to go into areas where you can see them practically implementing these values for the survival of Nigeria.
Imbibing and internalizing these ethics is an indispensable roadmap to the attainment and sustenance of peace, which itself is a panacea for development.
A training center which is dedicated to establish a coordinated system that is based on mentorship and leadership ethics is also developing a route to sustainable governance and development. The Northern Youth Leaders Forum has resolved to support the ban on open grazing and the call for national dialogue in the country. This is contained in a communique issued on the end of the 2021 National Delegates Conference held in Yola, where they further called for the establishment of Herders Commission or agency to cater to the needs of the herders through selective programs so as to effectively kickstart the ranching system in the country. Simon Asher reports.
Nigeria, no doubt, is bedeviled with security challenges, hence the clamor for national dialogue on how to profile lasting solution to the lingering security situation of the country by the citizenry. In this regard, the Northern Youth Leaders Forum, in its annual delegate conference in Yola, says in order to enforce complete ban on open grazing, they need to establish Herders Commission by the federal government becomes imperative for the socio-economic well-being of the society.
To this end, the NYLF, during our special delegates conference in Yola last night, resolved to totally support the call for national dialogue and ban on open grazing. We call on the federal government to, as a matter of urgency and national interest, to consider this course as duty course to obey and immediately to.
The forum also condoled the presidency and the country at large over the death of the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Ibrahim Atairu, and others who died on plane crash. In Yola, Simon Asher, NTA News.
Time now to head to Ibadan, where Kemi is standing by with some reports. Hello, Kemi.
Hello, Elizabeth, and a warm welcome to Ibadan. Religious leaders have reiterated the need to hold on to God as the nation takes proactive steps to overcome various challenges. This was the consensus on the state of a nation in Ibadan, the Oyo state capital. Grace Bamdele has details.
For every challenge, a corresponding solution-driven action is necessary, and faith in God is a requisite in doing the impossible. Based on this assertion, the 2021 Synod of the Ibadan North Diocese of the Church of Nigeria Anglican Communion ended with a Thanksgiving service held at the Bishop Akinyele Memorial Anglican Church, Iwo Road, Ibadan, with a belief that God is able to turn things around for one and all.
We have to do everything equally, equity and equality is what we want in this nation. And if that is done, I'm sure these people agitating will calm down.
This trend, with this current security situation in this country, God can quench it, but we need to trust in Him.
So if you can believe the word of God, you can live by the word of God, then doing the impossible will be like a child's play.
The Synod is a yearly gathering of the Anglican Communion to demonstrate the spiritual and material heritage of the Church and revive the faith of the people. In Ibadan, Grace Bamidele, NTA News.
Renewal of attitude by every Nigerian, full enforcement of the law and accountability by leadership at all levels are some of the strategies highlighted in fixing issues bordering on national unity. This was at a discourse by stakeholders in Ibadan. Oyeyinka Omoli tells us more.
Keeping Nigeria as one indivisible entity in the midst of agitations for disintegration by various ethno-religious groups has kept most nationalists and other stakeholders on their toes in evolving workable strategies towards entrenching national unity.
The heading is not the solution to heading. We just have to know that these are problems actually. Most nations have actually gone through it.
There's a kind of a trust gap between the government and the people. So if only the government can let us build a bridge and let people trust them while they are doing the right thing, then all this agitation will go down.
Although not a time to play blame game, speakers at the forum identified undue frustration, hopelessness and injustice, among others, as responsible for the present state of the nation.
The process of arresting, prosecuting and sentencing people is totally compromised. It's not working like many other processes in Nigeria.
We have the potential, we have the material and human resources.
Myself and yourself, we are going to do our bit. I'm in a queue. I'm supposed not to jump the queue. Let me not jump.
Seemed the whipping Nigeria, from where comes your help, is the first Southern Nigerian convergence of the forum with the hope of replicating same in other parts of the country. In Ibadan, Oyeyinka Omole, NTA News.
Residents of Oyo Town are still counting their losses following a heavy downpour that wreaked havoc. One of the buildings affected is that of NTA Oyo. Juliana Oladejo's report is here presented.
On-the-spot assessment of the effect of the storm showed that Office of the Officer in Charge, NTA Oyo, was severely damaged alongside some other property worth thousands of naira. The officer in charge, while appreciating God that no life was lost to the incident, solicited support from good-spirited Nigerians.
I left not quite 5 minutes when the torrential storm wreaked the havoc. It's unfortunate that it happened, but I have to give thanks to God who spared our life. If we are in the office and it happened this way, what we're saying now, my plea is for people to rally around me. NTA doesn't have anything to take care of what has happened.
The storm also affected some parts of Oyo town.
And that's it from Ibadan. Nationwide continues in Abuja with Elizabeth after this timeout. Stay with us.
Nigerian youths are about the greatest assets the country has at the moment. It is therefore not surprising that the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari is strategically responding to the yearnings of the youth through multiple projects and programs. Youth entrepreneurship support years by Bank of Industry, the Youth Investment Fund by the CBN, and several other conditional cash transfer programs. Recruitment of 774,000 social workers, majority of whom are youths, and so many other projects that are beneficial to youths directly or indirectly. If the administration can do all this, definitely with a degree of patience and time, it can achieve more. Nigerian youths must come together to say no to terrorism, no to vandalism, and no to all disruptive tendencies. Hashtag Youth for Greater Nigeria. Pacifying the youths, unifying the nation.
NTA News 24. A 24-hour news station brings to you news and happenings 7 days a week.
News at 10 a.m., news update at 11 and 1 p.m.
News desk at 3 p.m. and 6 p.m. and late evening news at 11 p.m.
Follow us on any of our platforms and keep abreast of events and current affairs within and outside our shores.
We are on DSTV channel 419, GoTV channel 46,
StarTimes channel 101 and Free TV channel 703. Join us.
Has announced 35 new cases of COVID-19 in Nigeria. Lagos has 9, Kano 8, Yobe 7, Rivers 4, Akwa Ibom 3, FCT 2, and Katsina 1. There are now 165,979 confirmed cases of COVID-19 in the country. 156,468 have been discharged, while 2,067 persons have died of the virus. In an effort to checkmate the increasing cases of obstetric fistula and rehabilitate its victims, a health facility has been constructed and inaugurated to this effect in Contagra, Niger State. Hussein Musa reports that the project, which is the brainchild of the wife of the Niger State Governor, Dr. Amina Abubakar Bello, will also impart the patients with skills before integrating them back to the society.
Nigeria still shares a high burden of obstetric fistula, popularly called VVF, with about 1 million women living with the dehumanizing condition. Northern Nigeria accounts for more than 50% of the cases due to socio-cultural beliefs characterized by poor health facilities. The establishment of the center to tackle the increasing menace head-on, which saw the pet project of the wife of the Niger State governor raise foundation in collaboration with other relevant organizations, establish obstetric fistula camps where about 300 women were treated successfully. The facility, named after the wife of the Niger State governor, Dr. Amina Bello Health Center, consists of a theater, 2 post-obstetric ward, a hostel, and skill acquisition center to address all aspects of VVF treatment and rehabilitation of its patients, as well as to serve as a hub for prevention programs across the north.
Additionally, we had trouble tracking the women for follow-up after their treatment, and so we were not able to rehabilitate those who came from far.
One person cannot do it alone. The leadership is important, but she needed to have all this support.
The Federal Ministry of Health will be more than willing to support this center in all areas possible.
Raise Foundation and Mainstream Foundation came together and put this together. So definitely it's something to rejoice about, because it will change the lives of hundreds of thousands of women.
The inauguration of the center, which coincides with the International Day to End Obstetric Fistula, popularly called VVF, seeks to correct the misconception that the cause of the condition is not early marriage, but prolonged obstructed labor. Emina Hussaina Musa, NTA News.
And a bit of road safety. In line with the theme of this year's United Nations Road Safety Week, Street for Life, the Federal Road Safety Corps Imo State Command has pledged to ensure enforcement of recommended speed limits in the overall interest of Nigerians. Faith Igwilo reports that the officers have already commenced regular checks on the roads to ensure compliance.
The United Nations Global Road Safety Week is known to be a medium used globally to raise awareness of road safety in order to make changes that will reduce the rate of deaths and injuries from road traffic crashes. For the Federal Road Safety Corps Imo State Command, the week is used to engage in aggressive campaign against traffic violations, especially around built-up areas. The sector commander Joshua Adekoye, who frowned at the level of recklessness exhibited by drivers along internal roads, stresses the need to abide by the speed limits recommended by the United Nations.
The theme for this program that we're having is Street for Life. And from our records, we discovered that most crashes that do happen, they happen as a result of speed. And if we can reduce our speed, it will definitely reduce crashes on our roads. And we have cases of hit and run mostly on our streets. And that is why we are even appealing to the general public that they should reduce their speed.
We apologize for that hitch. Moving on, Kaduna State plans to employ additional 5,000 road marshals to ensure safer roads in line with the United Nations revised target of reducing road crashes, deaths and injuries by 50% come 2030. The State Commissioner for Works, Balaraba Aliu Inowa, stated this in Kaduna. Ahmed Mohammed Usman reports.
Records show that the first decade of action for road safety, officially proclaimed by the United Nations General Assembly with the aim of reducing road crashes by 50% in 2020, expired with the inability of middle and low-income countries to meet the set targets. As a result, the United Nations Declaration was reviewed and extended as a second decade of action, starting from 2021 to 2030.
When crashes or accidents happen, they are not protected with technologies like airbag. So there's tendency of serious injuries and sometimes fatalities. So the United Nations looked at the seriousness of this issue and then declared the theme for 2021. The highways statistics reveal quite a lot of road traffic crashes happen as a result of speed, and so we need to crash the speed.
Kaduna State Government has already established some ministries that are saddled with the responsibility of regulating traffic, promising to do a lot more towards the realization of the 2030 target.
If there's any accident, at least 1 or 3 issues may likely happen. Loss of life, loss of property or injuries.
We work hand in hand with them for all areas where the concentration of their help is needed. For example, we work together when there are areas when there are public holidays or festive periods.
The new advocacy is to reduce the normal speed of 60 km per hour to 30 km per hour speed for cities, especially where people mix with traffic. In Kaduna, Hamad Mahmoud Usman, NTA News.
The Lagos-Ibadan standard gauge rail line is set for inauguration. Minister of Transportation Chibuike Rotimi Amechi at the inspection tour says President Muhammadu Buhari is expected to perform the inauguration ceremony on the 10th of June this year. Oninaya Kaloka reports.
Minister of Transportation Chibuike Rotimi Amechi arrived in the mega station to kickstart the inspection tour from Lagos to Ogun and Oyo states, covering the 386-kilometer tracks. His major concern stepping out of the vehicle is the level of completion.
Are you ready? This is our last question. Are you ready? You're ready for commissioning. Because you see, we want to visit the president by giving us middle week of June. We won't come again. The next time it's just here, it's commissioning. We are good to that.
The inspection tour took the minister and his team to the 10 stations.
You will see that the 10 or 11 stations are almost ready. Some of the underpasses are ready.
In fact, even if we want to commission within the next 10 days, we should be able to do it by mobilizing additional hands. So we're going to be on the contractor's neck to make sure that they achieve the target.
At the APM terminals, Apapa, with 8 new standard gauge tracks added and 3 narrow gauge tracks rehabilitated.
We intend to move cargoes from the seaport up to Ibadan. So some people may have to move their cargoes to Kano from Ibadan.
It has been breathtaking. Like, seriously, we need this kind of development, you understand?
This is said to be the last inspection tour of the double-track standard gauge rail line, as President Buhari is expected to perform the inauguration ceremony on the 10th of June 2021. Oyinaya Kalo Oka, NTA News.
And for happenings in the world of sports, let's join Badi Adile.
The Made in Abuja All-Stars Invitational Football Tournament kicked off on Saturday at the Go Project pitch of the Moshood Abiola National Stadium, with match day 1 producing some interesting results. Host team Abuja All-Stars lost 1-2 to Unity Sports Foundation in the tournament opener, with Capital Sportive and Like Minds playing goalless. CKSA recorded a 2-1 win over Kuje All-Stars, with Nyanya All-Stars beating Metro City 1-0.
First of all, I thank God Almighty, because it's not by my power. Let's go and win. That's our slogan. So I am that confident that we'll make it to the final.
I'm overwhelmed with joy and knowing that we are beating the best or perceived the best team in the tournament.
It's just the first game, but it's working as well as we planned. Unfortunately, we lost. Their goalkeeper was exceptional, and we played well.
Meanwhile, the Nigerian Mini Football Association has invited 60 players to camp as screening begins for the upcoming Africa Mini Football Cup of Nations in Ibadan, Oyo State. Players who make the cut will go for the final campaign for the second Mini Football AFCON, scheduled for the 8th to 17th July 2021. Elsewhere, Tyson Fury has vowed to beat Deontay Wilder for the second time after signing the contract for a third world heavyweight title fight in Las Vegas on July 24. The WBC champion was ordered by an arbitration court to face Wilder next, disrupting plans for an undisputed world title clash against Anthony Joshua, with the Nigerian-born British boxer having been ordered by the WBO to defend his belt against mandatory challenger Alexander Usyk. With sports update, Badi Adeleye, NTA News.
And sports update with Bade Adeleye ends nationwide today. Thank you so much for your time. Don't forget to connect with us at the NTA. Stand Against Rape and Rapists. Good evening.